All right, this is what we're going to be creating today. This is a 3D cascading text effect. Let's go ahead and get started. Go up to Composition, New Composition. We'll call this Animation, and we'll do 1920 by 1080, square pixels, frame rate 30, and then duration 10 seconds. Okay, grab the Type tool here. I'm going to do Cascade. Go ahead and center it. It'll be font size is 260, and then the font is New Haas Grotesk Display Pro in 96 black italic. This is very close to Helvetica, and you can find this font on Adobe fonts. So one of the problems with 3D text using the Cinema 4D renderer and After Effects is that it does not respect masks. You can see right here, masks are disabled for the Cinema 4D render, so we have to find a way to work around that. So come up to Layer, Create, New Shapes from Text. So now we just have shape outlines, and we're going to create another path on this same layer. So grab your pen tool, go to Grid, View, make sure Snap to Grid is on. We'll go ahead and create our path, so we'll do like this. And make sure that your path covers the width of your text, and also make sure it covers the height as well. Go. Just to make sure, turn off the grid, move it up, and yeah, it completely covers the text. So there's our shape, move it below the letters, and then we're going to animate it. So we can delete the stroke, go to Path, make sure the shape is below the text at 0, add a keyframe, go to 2 seconds, and we'll move it above so that it completely covers the text, like this. And then we can hit Easy Ease on this, and if you don't have the F keys, you can go to Animation, Keyframe, Assistant, Easy Ease, right? And then to make this sort of work the way we want it to, we need to add a merge paths. We're going to put that right after the letters. So we have the letters, merge paths, delete the stroke. And then we're going to add another merge paths, and we're going to add this after the shape. And let's move this down just a little. And under here, we're going to set the mode to, with the second merge path, set it to intersect. Now, you can see what's happening as we reveal the letters. Pretty cool. All right, so now we can, we're going to call this Cascade 1. And we're going to turn on the 3D. We can turn off this over here. Make sure you have the Cinema 4D renderer set here, and under renderer options, whatever it's set to, bring it all the way down to 1. This is a sort of a heavy project file, and we want to be able to move around easily, or somewhat easily, so set the draft, the quality all the way down to 1. We'll raise it later when we go to render. Hit OK, and we'll twirl this open, and let's see. We'll do geometry options. I'm going to set this bevel style to convex, bevel depth to 4, then extrusion depth to 10. Open up material options. We want to turn on, make sure all of this is on. Cast shadows, accept lights, appears and reflections, all is on. We'll set specular intensity to 65, and then reflection intensity to 75. There we go. We're not getting any reflections yet because we don't have an HDRI. We'll add that a bit later. And then we'll come up to the fill color, and this color is going to be D7 6722. You're free to use whatever colors you want. I would recommend not going really saturated with the colors. Probably don't do that because we need a little bit of leeway for when we composite stuff later, because it's going to tend to make it brighter, so we don't want to blow out any color channels. So hit OK on that, and that is good, I think. So we're going to duplicate this Cascade 2 just so you can see what is actually happening. Change this active camera at the top. That's how thin our layer is. So we're going to take the second Cascade 2, hit position, and on the Z we just want to change that to 21. And now that's being stacked, as you can see. And then on this Cascade 2, we're going to change the color to CF4B40, right? Duplicate it. Cascade 3, we're going to change the position to 42. Each one is being offset by 21. And then for Cascade 3, the color will be CF327D. Hit OK. All right. Duplicate, Cascade 4 position, it's going to be 63. And then the color will be, Cascade 4 will be C729BC. Hit OK. And then we'll duplicate the layer again, Control D, position, and this will be 84. There we go. And then this last color will be a purple, like this. So these are our 5 sort of copies, and then we're going to have another copy that sort of wraps around all of these. So we're going to duplicate this again, call this Cascade White, and this position is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be set to -21. We're going to change Twirl It Open, change the geometry options to bevel depth will be 6. So the bevel adds more to the geometry, so it's going to cover up the rest, and then we'll set the extrusion depth to 130. There we go. You can see how big it is, and then we'll change, let's see here. Yeah, and that should cover up everything, right? And then this top layer here, the color will be something of an off-white. Move it to red, maybe somewhere around here. E1 CFCF. Let's see how that works. And now we have to offset each layer by 6 frames, right? So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you can hit our 6 frames, right? 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Bring this in to 1, right. 5 is the last one that comes on first. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can hit the open bracket and it'll shift, the open square bracket, and it will shift that layer to where the CTI is, the current time indicator. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The to move 1 frame ahead or backwards, it's page up and page down. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cascade White, right? Come back to active camera. And there we have our animation, looking good, looking very good. So we're going to go ahead and create, let's do a new composition. We're going to call this floor. Hit OK. New solid, Control Y. And we'll just make it white. It's fine. Add a gradient map to this. Gradient ramp. And the first color for this is going to be A775DB. And then the second color is going to be E4CFD5, right? And for the Y position for that top color will be -976. And then the Y position for the second color will be 464. Looks good. bring that floor into the animation comp, make it 3D, and let's see the position on this, just so we can see, so you can see when I'm going. Switch to 4 views here. You can see how everything's laid out. For position 960, 645, and then -1056. The scale on the floor will be, uncheck this link, 735, 105, and 105. And then the R to bring up X rotation, and that will just be 90. Just position this slightly back here. We'll have to make a few adjustments. Roll open the floor real quick, and under material options, they'll be off, on, off, and off. Right? Nope, it's off. Off, on, off, off. And then specular intensity will be 75. Reflection intensity will be 20. Reflection intensity and specular intensity are basically the ones you're concerned about if you're trying to get reflections. And then the sharpness will determine how blurry the reflections are. We're going to roll this down to 20%. Since this is the Cinema 4D renderer, keep in mind, if you add any blurriness to a reflection, it's pretty costly when it comes to rendering. But it looks good. So we can roll that up, and we'll do a new composition. We'll call this BG. And well, new solid, hit OK, add another gradient ramp. This first color will be CE75DB. The second color will be E5D0D7. And so the Y position on that first color is -784. Y position on the second color is 496. There we go. Close that and that. Bring in the BG underneath, and for this is going to be 3D layer, and we'll set this position to, we need to move it behind, there we go, and we can just go ahead and scale it up. You might have to scale it up quite a bit once we get the cameras in here, but there we go. You can see what the scene looks like right here. You have the text, you have the floor, and you have a background. We'll go back to the single view here. And I think this is it for our, actually, this BG needs to be scaled up a lot. Come on. Change this to quarter. Change it to like 300. There we go. Yeah, so this is what this particular composition looks like. We're going to deal with lighting and another composition and reflections and everything else. So we're going to grab animation, drop it into a new comp. We'll turn this on 3D, and we'll also hit this collapse transformations button. We're going to go ahead and create a new light. It's a point light. Intensity at 100%. We're going to make the color sort of a peach, about like that. Fall off should be inverse square clamped. Radius 500. No cast shadows. Then we're going to hit the position here, and we're going to do 432 by 368 by -130. And once again, we'll go to 4 views so we can see what we're doing here. This will be, we can call this like our key light. Duplicate this under this position, This fill will be 142, 368, -90, right? And make sure you move your CTI along the timeline so we can see what we're lighting here. Under this BG real quick, we'll go to material options and accepts light, set that to off, right? So we come back and we have that looks pretty good. And then we'll also do a new light. This will be another point light. We're gonna make this light blue. Hit OK. This is no fall off, no shadows, intensity at 100%. That's behind, call this behind. Position, we'll set this to 930, 379, and 269. So just so you can see what's happening here on the top view, we have this second key should be 1421. There we go. So it's on the other side. There we go. We have more even lighting. This is what your lighting setup should look like up here. One behind, then two in front. You can see that on the right. An active camera. Go back to one view. And now we're going to add our HDRI. So grab, this is from Polyhaven. I'll post a link. Add it to a new comp. And this, we'll rename this to Cam 1. Bring in the HDRI comp. Right click, set to environment layer. Make sure we're on active camera. There we go. Layer, new camera. We're going to set it to 20 millimeters. Hit OK. This is a basic camera setup. You usually attach a camera to a null. So we'll link this camera to the null. Make sure the null is 3D. Just to give you an idea, if you've never worked with cameras in After Effects before or in 3D software, we have the null here. The null is where the text is. And then we have the camera here. And the idea is that we can do sort of like circular movements like this. And the camera's basically rotating specifically around the null, which is exactly where the text is. We'll call this cam control. Now we're going to duplicate this cam layer. This is our basic setup for the cam shots. We're going to duplicate this cam layer 3 times. So we have 2, 3, and 4. We can open all of them up. So under cam 1, we'll bring up position for the camera, then position and rotation for the cam control. So for the null, the position will be 1495, 540, and 0. And then for the Y rotation for the null will be -34. And the camera position will be -20. Right, now if we move back, there we go. We're basically getting a real close-up of the animation. So that's cam 1, go to cam 2. Bring up the position rotation for the null and the position for the camera. This position for the null will be 1222, 540, and 14 on the Z. X rotation will be 27. Y rotation will be 21. Camera position in the Z will be -60. There we go. It's another close-up from a slightly different angle of things animating on. All right, that's cam 2. Go to cam 3. Same thing. Position for cam 3 will be 852, 540 and 47. Then the X rotation here will be negative 63. And then the position for the Z position for the camera will be negative 155. There we go. Now we have a close-up view overhead of the animation. Right. And to cam 4, this is where we get the, we actually have animation on the camera. So we'll go at 1 second. We'll set the Z position. Go ahead and right click this position and do separate dimensions. So we're only animating on one dimension. So hit a keyframe. We'll set this to negative 173. It's generally pretty close up. Go to 5 seconds. Change this to negative 1066. There we go. Actually, when we go to this, you can see that the floor is peaking out here. So go back to animation, and we'll just let's see, scale the floor up. Not that way. Do it this way. There we go. Not like that. Cam 4. There we go. Grab both these keyframes, hit F9 for easy ease. Actually, just the easy ease on this one. So there is our animation for cam 4, the pullout. You'll notice that the HDRI is only sort of working for us. So what we're going to do is go back to animation, or go back to, right, Studio Small, come to X rotation, we'll set it to 90, right? And we'll do that for the rest of these as well. Rotation 90 on the X, rotation 90 on the X, rotation 90 on the X. There we go. That looks better. Now we have all our cam shots. Grab all the cams, drag them into a new composition, single composition, and we'll call this star render. So now we have to sort of do some trimming. Grab the first cam. Go to 17 frames. If you hit Alt and the open square brackets, it'll trim the layer. Go to 117, Alt and the closing square brackets, and it'll trim the end of the layer like that. Cam 2, go to 20 frames, trim the front, 119, trim the back. Cam 3, at 24, trim the front, 124, trim the back, and then for cam 4 we go to 110 and just trim the front. Now all we do is just set them next to each other. If you hold down shift, they'll snap to the front and the back, like so. Good. There's our sequence. Now we're gonna add a little new adjustment layer. Add a hue and saturation. You gotta be careful with these colors a little bit because sometimes we can blow out color channels. We're gonna just dial it back a hair. We'll do negative 10. Then add curves. And we'll add a little bit of contrast, a little bit of an S curve, something like this, right? Call this CC. We'll do new solid, Control Y. Call this vignette. And we'll do add a fill here. And we're just gonna do a real dark blue. Maybe something like this. Double click the ellipse tool, set to subtract, hit the feather to 400, and then the opacity down to, I don't know, maybe 30. And this last one's up to you. Then another adjustment layer, call it grain. I always like to add grain on everything. Add grain. And then set the viewing mode to final output, intensity 0.5, just a little bit, and size to 0.5. All right, and there is our cascading text animation. Before you actually render this out, you're going to want to go into each of these cams and change the render options. So I've done a few tests, and your best bet is to go to 55 55 is a pretty good number, and you're basically looking for this anti-aliasing to click on, and 1 by 1 and 4 by 4 is plenty for this animation. It pretty much gets rid of all the anti-aliasing issues. Just make sure you turn that on for each of the cams, and you'll be good to go. Of course, you can always change the colors, and another thing you can do is you can actually try using different masks instead of the one we did, so you can get slightly different looks. But that should be it, and thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you like the video. You can leave comments, questions, and suggestions in the comments below. Thanks a lot.